this lesson, we will be talking about mental status examination. Mental status examination begins by assessing the patient's appearance in dress, action, and demeanor, and attempting to understand their state of mind. Do they neglect their appearance, appear depressed, anxious, or emotionally labile? Do they behave appropriately, and does their dress reflect the circumstance? By appropriate behavior, we refer to acceptable norms suitable to the circumstance of consulting a physician in their office. Ask about the patient's mood. Do they appear to have vegetative signs or symptoms such as anhedonia or neglect? Are they sleepy? Do they exhibit delusions or hallucinations? A major portion of the mental status examination includes evaluation of higher cortical functions, including speech, attention, orientation, memory, calculation, perception, and praxis. We will review these individually in more detail. Let's begin with speech. Assess speech simply by observing what the patient is saying. Does it make sense? Ask him to repeat a phrase. The speech abnormality aphasia is characterized by abnormal language production or comprehension. This is an inability to interpret and integrate language into one's activities or interactions. We typically analyze the content of the language produced to determine if it is fluent or flowing with few pauses, or non-fluent, which sounds more hesitant and lacks many of the normal sentence elements. Testing attention can easily be accomplished by having the patient repeat a series of numerals. Normally, one can recall and repeat 5 to 7 numbers correctly. Orientation is tested by simply asking the patient where they are, do they recognize those around them, and are they aware of time. Next, you should test short and long-term memory. Registration and recall are tested by asking the patient to repeat several items and commit them to memory. Typically, the patient is asked to recall them 3 to 5 minutes later. Long-term memory can be tested during your conversation. Let's test calculation. Subtraction of serial sevens is a good way to test calculation. What about praxis and perception? At times, a patient with a non-dominant hemisphere lesion will manifest neglect of themselves or a limb which they have obvious weakness in, or they might have the inability to perform learned tasks, which is known as apraxia. Try asking the patient to follow a series of actions you demonstrate, such as making a fist, knocking on the desk with that fist, then with the flat palm, and then with fingertips. Inability indicates limb apraxia. Spatial orientation can be tested by having the patient draw a clock or a flower pot. Testing praxis has the patient demonstrating their ability to perform an act which would normally be secondhand for them, such as combing their hair. Now that you have assessed the patient's mental state, you are ready to continue with the physical exam.